Succession planning is so important with small farmers because it's going to happen whether you like it or not. Family farms include oftentimes multiple generations of family members who all want to be involved or who have been involved. So it gets a little stickier when you're working with them, but it truly is no different than business planning in general, because a succession plan should never be kept separate from the rest of the planning process. It should be a part of the bigger picture. It's knowing who is involved currently, who wants to be involved, planning for what your financial needs and retirement needs for those who are looking to hopefully exit the business, and what their roles want to be. Understanding what the clear expectations are for all generations and all involved parties. That is so important, but also knowing what the vision of the entire business truly is, to make sure everyone is in alignment with where the business is going and who wants to be a part of that. The tricky part with business valuation, I mean, it has to certainly be a part of the succession planning process. Oftentimes the value of the business is truly wrapped up in who is currently operating the business and running the business. So if the first generation is truly the sole person leading that company forward, they need to work on making sure that second generation has what it's going to take to be able to carry that forward, maintain the momentum, and even grow it once it's entirely handed over, the transition has happened. But oftentimes that transition is not a one-time event. It is truly a 5 to 10 year process, and there's no overnight, unless a death has occurred, there is no overnight now second generation is in charge. So it is important to understand, especially if you are a value-added food processor, you're wholesaling a lot of items and products. You need to know your customer base, what they're worth, what is it that they're buying, weekly, monthly, whatever, and how that all is going to wrap up into just the physical assets and liquidity of the business. Certainly make it very clear to all family members who are currently working on the farm or in the business, or however, whether it's a little bit or a whole lot, you want to make sure you're communicating what it is you're thinking and planning with all of them very clearly. So there isn't any element of surprise that's all of a sudden going to hit them at some point down the road. They know what they're working toward. Again, it comes back to those very clear expectations, so everyone knows what they're getting into, what they're contributing towards, and that they're not in a losing battle, because it can often feel that way anytime you have a family business. There are so many familial issues that can just come up. It's family, and a lot of times too, you want to remember that it's not just family. You have other key employees who may have been around for 20 years that, who knows, maybe they would be a good partner to bring into this, and not just hand it to the next son or the next daughter. It's never too early. I like to share the example of, it's a sad example, but I worked with a company a couple of years ago who, it was a second generation son who ended up taking over the family business. Even though it wasn't a farm, he still was forced to do it when his dad passed away of a heart attack suddenly at the age of 52. So it is never too early to start planning. You need to have your ducks in a row, because that second generation son almost couldn't make it when he went through that, because he wasn't prepared. What I hope that everyone walks away from this day with is that they're walking away with some next steps of how to proceed. The people they need to contact, the attorneys, the accountants, the consultants. Who is it that they need to talk to get this process rolling, and stop talking about it and start doing it and putting it into action.